owns is on a offshoot of, what is the river in Texas that they open the gates on every once in a while. And when they open the gates so that it won't get the lakes upstream don't get too full, it floods the house in Seguin. And it only gets either 2 or 3 feet from the floor. It gets the appliances, they're gone. And the sheetrock that far up has to be replaced. And Joe has worked on that house twice, replacing sheetrock and appliances. And then they rent it out to somebody. I figure sooner or later they will move back to Texas and take that house. Now, I asked my son if they were considering moving to Texas, and he says, "No, why would we do that?" You know, New York is so crowded that their place is small. But they like it. He is also a fan of Sonic. Now, they don't have Sonic up there. So when he comes down here, like to go to the reunion, we'll drive, and he can hardly pass a Sonic without stopping and having a foot-long hot dog.
Okay. Does your family hold any reunions?
Say again.
Does your family hold reunions?
I'm trying to think before our generation. I don't think we had reunions. We lived pretty much in Oklahoma and Kansas, and would get together at Christmas. My aunt had never been married and was, I don't know whether she's a school teacher or principal or something. And every Christmas we went to Bartlesville because grandmother lived there, and then this aunt lived there. And the aunt had a boyfriend. Now here she is, 65 years old, and she has a boyfriend who has a farm in Kansas. And anyway, at the Christmas party, we kids who were at this point were 15, 16, 17, we put on a show for the adults and then pass the hat and go to a movie in the afternoon. Well, this was the year that Aunt Helen was being wooed by Uncle Oscar. Anyway, he put $20 in the hat as we passed it around. Most we had ever had. He made an impression on us, and they got married. Otis Sewell was his name, yeah. What else you got there?
And do you remember when this picture was taken?
Huh?
Do you remember when this picture was taken?
Yes. Yeah, we're going back to my story. I'm in a hospital in southern England, trying to get over being a POW, and my brother visits me, and he says I'm flying back to the States. He's going to train on B-29s so that he can do what he did in England, because they're going to have to invade Japan. And so he is back in Oklahoma in June of 45. The European war is over, and he's going to start training on B-29s. And I arrive home same time. He is supposed to report to Colorado Springs, and we get, Annie Jess has gas coupons that she doesn't need. So we borrow her gas coupons and we drive to Colorado Springs. And Billy reports for duty, and he's to go to Amarillo, I believe it is. So we said, well, we'll go ahead and take you to Amarillo. So we take him to Amarillo and leave him. And then the atom bomb is dropped, and the war is over, and he is in Texas. Well, he's been in the service for over 3 years, has enough points to get out. He's one of the first people to get discharged from the service, and he's back in the country, and he gets discharged, and he goes to Houston, where his uncle is, and the uncle says, he had finished college 2 years before the war and had worked for city service in Kansas. And then 3 years of the war or something like that. And he goes to Houston, and his uncle says, you need to go to work for Humble. Humble's the best place to go. And he doesn't have any ties to city service, so he goes to work for Humble. And, I mean, right off, he's got a job because he's one of the few people who, he's 27. Okay, he's 27. I was going to tell the story about the uniforms. Anyway, he's back in the States and is available to work, and so he goes to work for Humble, which becomes Exxon, and so he works there. But when he got out of the service, which was, the war in Japan was over in August of 45. I don't have a date. Mother kept his uniform. I'm still in the service. I'm rehabbing. And World ship is in the Pacific. And I go to Fort Sam in San Antonio and get out of the service. And she keeps my uniform. And he's in the Pacific. Well, by the time he gets back from the Pacific, gets to Kansas, his daughter is 2 weeks old. Anyway, Mother says, you're going to have your picture taken at the studio. No ifs, ands, and buts. And of course, he's just arrived home. And he lives in Houston, and I live in Oklahoma. I'm back in college. Anyway, he comes up from Houston, and Mother's got his uniform. He won't put the uniform on. And I put mine on, and this boy is still in the Navy. He's just arrived back. And we drive down to the photo studio in Stillwater, and he puts his uniform on at the studio, because it's not legal to wear a uniform if you've been discharged, according to him. So Mother was responsible for us, and so it would have been February of 46 that this picture was made. Well, I turned 21 in 45, October 45. So February 46, I'm still 21. That's right. picture was taken probably February 46. And those dates are the ages. Anyway, except for Mother insisting this picture would never have been made. Because he was so against putting the uniform on.
And do you know where are your brothers at?
Huh?
Where are your brothers at?
They both died. He died at age 91. Now, he was 6 years older than I. So he was, do you know where Edgemere is on Northwest Highway? It's a high cost place like C.C. Young.
Mm-hmm.
He and his wife were in Edgemere. They have a son that lives here, and that's how come they moved from Houston to here. And he died at 91. His wife died at 90. He died at 86 from a second heart attack. Now, we told him we don't have heart problems in the Cliff family, but he did. But I don't know what I'm going to die. I hope I don't get Alzheimer's like he had. I don't think it's hereditary. Hope not. And heart problems, so far, haven't seen anything. Nobody in the family has had cancer. Now, I had a thing taken off here, skin cancer. Now, the doctor that took it off says, you'll always have that spot. I recommend you grow a beard. Forget it. No, I could grow up. I could probably grow a pretty good beard. I grew a mustache when I was in Honduras. I had a Harpo Marx mustache. Of course, in Honduras, if you were a real man, you had a mustache. So I grew a mustache. But I may have another 10 years. I don't know. Not that the food isn't good, but it's just, at lunch you have a choice. Fish or ham. Fish or beef. Fish or hot dogs. Or fish and something. You always have fish. It's all right, But you gotta eat what they have. But another 10 years? I don't know.
Okay. What is your most painful memory?
My most what?
Painful.
Painful?
Yeah.
Well, I take a class here called Senior Scribblers. And everybody writes what they have written. And many of them are the death of a brother, a little brother who died young, something like that. And the gal is a Catholic gal, and their religious holdings are much more than, I'm a Methodist. I could be anything. Anyway, they read what they have written, and it's fairly descriptive of how they suffered and how many years they suffered. And I have the statement that, how do you think my mother felt Christmas of 44 to receive a telegram that Gilbert is missing in action? My mother would just fall to pieces. I shortened her life, I think. Now, I can't say I shortened my dad's life because he lived to 97. But Mother lived to 80-something. But I can just see how she suffered getting a missing in action. And then she got a postcard from me. The first POW camp I was in, they gave us a postcard to address to our families and write a short note. And they would mail it. Well, I didn't think it'd probably ever get mailed, but it did. And they received that postcard from me a month before they heard from the Army that I was a POW. I was missing in action when I didn't show up the next day after I was captured. And they're obligated to send a telegram to say, hey, he's missing in action. We think maybe he was captured, but we don't know. And then later to hear that I was a POW, and that was better than just being missing in action. But during this time, Mother corresponded with a lot of people who had children who were missing in action and then POWs. So she carried on quite a correspondence with a lot of people that eased the problem. I can't even remember what your question was.
Your most painful memory.
Oh. Well, surprisingly enough, I cried at my mother's funeral. I didn't at my father's. She died like 86 or something, and was expected to die. She'd had a leaky heart valve, which if she had been born later, it would have been replaced, with an artificial heart valve. Anyway, the fact that she had a leaky valve, she wound up with an enlarged heart and lived 3 or 4 years after being given 6 months. You just took it easy and lived longer. But her death affected me more than my dad's. I think you have a closer relationship with your mother than with anybody else. How not? She's there first.
Yeah.
The fact that there were just the 3 boys in the family, no girls. Now the surprising thing was, each boy sired a daughter. First child was a daughter. And so Mother had 3 granddaughters before she had a grandson. And she thought that was great, because she'd never had daughters, granddaughters. I think we're near the end of the rope.